On today's edition of Airborne, a light sport amphib, the SeaRey, is ready to soar. The SportPlane resource guide is coming back, and Hawker issues more pink slips. I'm Ashley Hale. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. Progressive Aerodyne's SeaRey, a light sport amphibian airplane, has received the necessary blessings from the requisite authorities to be offered for sale, fully built, to the flying public. Progressive Aerodyne successfully passed an FAA light sport aircraft prototype audit by the audit team from FAA Air 200 in Washington, D.C., and obtained an airworthiness certification from the FAA Orlando MIDO office on November 8, 2012. Progressive Aerodyne has been working diligently for a few years to meet relevant ASTM standards and FAA regulations with help and guidance from Silverlight Aviation. PA was the first out of 7 light sport aircraft manufacturers in the past 2 years to pass the FAA audit without any major findings. PA will start production of the compliant airplane immediately to meet the long-expected market demand. New factory-built airplanes will be delivered to customers who put down a deposit in a couple of months. Well, if you plan to be in the market for an entry-level aircraft, an affordable aircraft, or an LSA, you'll be excited to learn that A&N's Jim Campbell has announced plans to publish a 3rd edition of his robust sport and kit plane reference book, the SportPlane Resource Guide. The last edition weighed in at nearly 5 pounds, covered 1,100 pages, and included some 740 sport aircraft. The coming new edition, the 3rd, will be targeted to serving the needs of the LSA and affordable aircraft markets. This effort will be an extensive one, and plans are afoot for both a print as well as an electronic edition. Formats and configurations are being studied, but one of the benefits that we see to an electronic edition is the ability to publish updates on a regular basis to keep all the information as current as possible. The SportPlane Resource Guide, which will feature an extensive aircraft and equipment directory, as well as informative how-to sections, will provide impartial specifications and analysis of an aircraft's capabilities. It will also provide specific direction to those interested in flying light sport aircraft as a sport pilot. A&N will release additional details at the 2013 U.S. Sport Aviation Expo in Sebring this January, while survey materials and other data will be disseminated for collection this spring. The entire effort is expected to take the better part of a year to complete. Unemployment continues to be high, and the latest news from Hawker won't help the situation. The company said it plans to cut just over 400 more jobs in 4 states as part of its bankruptcy restructuring. Tom Patton has that story.
The layoffs are associated with the closure of 3 HBC service facilities in Little Rock, Arkansas, San Antonio, Texas, and Mesa, Arizona, which will cost 240 people their jobs, according to a report in the Wichita Eagle. The company will also cut 170 jobs from its Little Rock Completion Center, as well as additional jobs in Wichita. Hawker Beechcraft said last month that it will emerge from bankruptcy as Beechcraft Corporation and focus on its piston and turboprop lines. The Little Rock Completion Center finishes jets for customers, and the new Beechcraft will not be in the jet business. Those in this most recent round of layoffs received 60-day notices Friday. HBC issued notices to 1,021 workers in Wichita earlier this year, according to Kansas Works. In a letter to employees, Hawker Beechcraft CEO Steve Miller and Chairman Bill Boyster said the decision was, quote, necessary for the long-term health of the company, end quote. For Airborne, I'm Tom Patton.
On Thursday, the IRS and Treasury created an exception to its rules, allowing American Airlines and other companies in a similar position to eliminate a lump sum option from the union's pension plan. The airline will still have to pay benefits in full, but pilots cannot retire and take their pension in one large payment. The Dallas Morning News reports that the so-called A-scale pilots were opposed to the plan, But the Allied Pilots Association, as an organization, found the change to be preferable to a termination of its members' pensions. In a message to members, APA said that the freeze will preserve the benefits and require American Airlines to continue to fund the plan. American spokesman Bruce Hicks said the airline was also happy with the arrangement. Hicks said that the company has from the beginning sought a solution that, quote, maintains the freeze of our pilot-defined benefit plan. You're watching Airborne, more in a moment.
Redbird Skyport is a multifaceted aviation laboratory charged with developing innovative solutions to the issues facing the industry.
It started out as a vision for a laboratory where we could objectively measure the systems and the processes that we were developing. Being able to put some objective measures behind the anecdotal evidence that we have about the value of motion and the application of this technology is very, very important, because until we can objectively measure it and play that data back, we can't design training systems that make the best use of it.
For more information about Redbird flight simulations, as well as Redbird's new Skyport, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com or www.redbirdskyport.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or podcast, drop us an email to news-spy@aero-news.net. Well, normally when we think of drug smuggling into the U.S., we think of Mexico or Colombia. But this past Wednesday, a Canadian helicopter pilot who confessed to flying thousands of pounds of marijuana into the U.S. from Canada was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release. Henry Rosenau, 61, of Armstrong, British Columbia, Canada, pleaded guilty in July 2012 to conspiracy to import marijuana, just hours before he was to go on trial for a second time. His first trial was in April 2012 and ended in a hung jury. In his plea agreement, Rosenau admits that between 2000 and 2005, he flew dozens of loads of marijuana into forested areas in western and eastern Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Rosenau was identified in Operation Frozen Timber. The 2005 investigation, led by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Homeland Security investigations, identified organized criminal groups smuggling British Columbia bud marijuana by helicopter south from Canada into the U.S. and smuggling cocaine north into Canada. More than 40 people were indicted in connection with Operation Frozen Timber. A pilot from Illinois who was dismissed after contacting the FAA to discuss violations of the pilot certification process at the Northern Illinois Flight Center has been reinstated and is to be paid more than $500,000 in back wages, benefits, and damages. An investigation by the U.S. Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration found that Northern Illinois Flight Center violated the whistleblower protection provisions of the Wendell H. Ford Aviation Investment and Reform Act for the 21st century, known as AIR 21, by illegally terminating the pilot. The pilot alleged that he was asked to falsify an FAA Form 6155 pilot certification for a training flight he performed with another pilot. He also alleged that Northern Illinois Flight Center supervisors later attempted to coerce him into signing a backdated and incorrect form. During a subsequent conversation, the pilot informed his supervisors that he wanted to contact the FAA directly to get clarification on the issue. The pilot was then terminated on April 7th with no reason stated. The investigation conducted by OSHA's Chicago office upheld the pilot's allegations and found that he would not have been terminated if he had not requested to meet with the FAA for the purpose of discussing the pilot certification process and forms. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time for Aero Video of the Week. Well, you may have heard the expression, it was like flying with an elephant on our backs. And this video, a test flight of the Zen ship, gives real meaning to that turn of words. It's a hybrid aircraft that gets its lift from both a buoyant gas and aerodynamic propulsion. To view this complete video, log on to YouTube and search for Zen ship. Well, another redtail has embarked on his final mission. Retired Colonel Herbert E. Carter died Thursday at East Alabama Medical Center, according to a news release from Tuskegee University. He was 95 years old. Carter was a university alumnus and a member of the original cadre of the 99th Fighter Squadron of the famed Tuskegee Airmen. He flew combat missions during the North African, Sicilian, Italian, and European campaigns of World War II. Carter also served as a professor of air science and commander of the Air Force ROTC Detachment 15 at Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University, from 1950 to 1955, and professor of aerospace studies from 1965 to 1969. He was one of several of the original Tuskegee Airmen who returned to Tuskegee University to celebrate the film premiere of Red Tails in January. Tuskegee University President Gilbert L. Rochin said of Carter, "He fought for freedom from tyranny internationally and for freedom from discrimination at home in America. His commitment to excellence and determination to succeed will set the standard for the next generation of Tuskegee Airmen." Finally, today on Airborne, we're not exactly sure how it happened, but last week, Aero-News celebrated Klyde Morris's 10th anniversary of appearing in cartoons on our site. Klyde is aviation's favorite ant, that's A&T, with an unnatural love for Falcon jets and the space program, and a cynical eye towards certain aviation associations, which shall remain nameless, and government agencies like the TSA, which won't. Author Wes Olachevsky has been cartooning since he was a kid, and had his work regularly published in the Avion newspaper while he was an on-again, off-again student working his way through Embry-Riddle University in Daytona. We at Aero-News wanted to take a moment to thank Wes for his many contributions to our site over the years, and we hope Klyde will be with us for another decade. Get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. And join us again this Friday for another edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.